The DEA struck a deal to partner with Mexico's most notorious drug cartel, which they partnered with Sinaloa Cartel, and of course, if you're not aware of who are the drug dealers, the big corporations, the big banks, the U.S. government, and of course the Mexican governments. Many governments are included in this drug cartel, this mafia propaganda, I would call it, because they all have hands in it. They're all just controlling all these transactions, all this money going everywhere, you know. And basically, the Mexican Sinaloa drug cartel, which the DEA made a deal with them that allowed it to operate with immunity and in-depth investigation by leading Mexican newspaper confirmed this week in exchange for information assistance in quashing competition criminal syndicate. The Bush and Obama administration let the Sinaloa cartel import tons of drugs into the United States while wiping out Sinaloa competitors and ensuring that its leaders will not be prosecuted for the long list of major crimes. Other revelations also pointed strongly to massive but clandestine U.S. government involved in drug trafficking. Of course, they're drug traffickers. Yes. As well, the official documents from the U.S. and Mexican government, Mexico's El Universal, which is a newspaper in Mexico, El Universal, concluded that the U.S. government enforced administration, DEA, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE), and the U.S. Justice Department has secretly worked with the drug lords. The controversial conspiracy led to increased violence across Mexico. There were many tens of thousands have been murdered in recent years. The newspaper found after its year-long probe. So it took about a year to get this information together. The U.S. agents and their shady deals with Mexican drug lords even sparked what the paper called a secret war inside Mexico, of course. And the corporations, the big banks, governments, different governments from different countries, and they all have their hands in this. It's just, they rather just kill thousands of people. Oh yeah, well the Mexicans is bad. Going to Mexico is a bad thing. You shouldn't go there. Oh yeah, they just no. You're the drug dealer. The U.S. government is a drug dealer. The Rothschild family controls the drug cartels. The big banks basically launder money through the banks. Basically, they launder your money. They launder drug cartels' money through the banks. You know, and they say, oh no, they're the enemy. No, the corporation, the banks, all are the enemies. They're scumbags. That's what they are to me. A bunch of scumbags. It says that between American officials and Sinaloa chieftains was most active. 2006-2012, drug warfare, violence, and massacre surged up recent levels. There are numerous indications, despite official denials, top Mexican officials may have been aware of the scheme or even involved in them. They were involved in them. You can't ever say they were. Then they were aware, and the majority of them, yeah, of course they were, because there's money involved. Of course, come on now. Let's be realistic. These people are a bunch of scumbags, and of course, uh, most recently, whistleblower from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives (ATF) said that U.S. Border Patrol agent Brown Terry, killed with a Fast and Furious gun, was murdered by criminals working for the FBI. So you see how this tied together? You see how it is? The guy that got killed, the border agent, Brian Terry, he was killed basically with the Fast and Furious gun. Basically the gun that Fast and Furious won. I believe it was 2009. I believe Obama administration conducted Fast and Furious and all this. It was a lie. It was just a joke. They bunch of guns, just drove them straight to Mexico. They gave it to the cartels and they just go to war. You know? As a joke. It was done on purpose so they could fight. They could kill each other. But no, the Sinaloa cartel had an agreement with Washington. So they were the government were basically the Mexican and the government, U.S. government, were not gonna mess with. Basically, Sinaloa cartel was gonna give them, yeah, this cartel is black. We're just giving other cartels up so they could put, ship the drugs in and everything will be fine. They make the billions of dollars a year, right? Of course. It's clear that some of the weapons were deliberately allowed by the FBI and the other government representatives to end up in the hands of Sinaloa Cartel. Basically, these guns will end up in the Sinaloa Cartel. That's basically the guns were for them. Stated in motion found news court by Zamba Zima's defense team, adding the U.S. government has documents showing that the weapons were provided by authorities pursuing the agreement with Sinaloa. According to the former officials and drug kingpins, the agreement between Sinaloa and Washington also allow the criminals empire to ship multi-ton quantities of hard drug across the border into the United States. In all, the newspaper New Versar said there has been at least 50 meetings between Mexico, meetings in Mexico between U.S. government agents and senior Sinaloa bosses, along with many more phone calls and emails. Basically, the criminal syndicate leaders were given cartel plans to continue to smuggle tons of illicit drugs into Chicago and the rest of the United States, and were also protected by the United States government from arrest or prosecution. So you see how this goes. It's all a game. You know, I already knew this trash. I know the U.S. government, the drug dealers, the Rothschild family, Rothschild family basically owns all the central banks in the world. They basically control all the cartels, so they make tons of money out of them. You understand me? But they need, and it's all they control all this stuff. And here, look, even more interesting. It says here, according to a last quarter New York report, it is true that Mexico City was unaware that only add to the troubling implication of the unlawful scheme between U.S. officials and criminal bosses from Mexico and Colombia to Afghanistan and South Asia. It's all connected. It's all a big game. As you bring their drugs in, you buy their shit, they make tons of money, billions of dollars a year. And because of this, the country Mexico have, because of this deal between the DEA and the Sinaloa Cartel, between 50,000 and 100,000 people in less than a decade have been killed. But they don't care. All the DEAs worry about, the money. And of course, CIA is always in this. When there's money involved, the CIA is always in this stuff because they basically import drugs in this country also. Because basically CIA basically means cocaine importing agency. CIA. And cocaine importing agency. That's what CIA stands for. No? In fact, more than few official drug lords and not having said the CIA and other secret U.S. and foreign agencies actually run the global trade in narcotics, laundering, profits, and more. The DEA was even investigated by Congress last year for helping to launder drug money, while the ATF was both supplying U.S. weapons to Mexican cartels. ICE has reportedly been allowing cartel hitmen to the United States to murder people. So far, none of the high-ranking officials responsible for the law has truthfully been held accountable. Of course, they're not being held accountable. Because there's the one telling them what to do. You see what I'm saying, people? It's for you guys to know about this. Don't worry, the ones that are not aware that your own government, your own American government, are the drug dealers. Government officials are the drug dealers. But the majority of you didn't know that. Most of you don't even care. Because to you guys, majority of you guys are Obama lovers, and you say, yeah, he's, come on now, he's controlled. This guy's controlled by the banks, by the corporations. So with that said, please subscribe to my video. Subscribe to my channel. Please comment, share, and like. Make sure you check out my previous videos in my playlist. Peace, guys.